Hi, my name's Elena. City Picnic CPL is specialized in communications training, looking at how teams can communicate more effectively under pressure with each other, but also looking at how we can create more meaningful connections with our guests as well. Connections that, yes, make the guests feel good. More importantly, make the people working in those businesses feel good as well. So this idea of service and hospitality really comes from Danny Meyer and his book, Setting the Table. In that book, he talks about guest experiences down to two things and getting the balance right between those two things, service and hospitality. So let's start with service. So service is described as the practical or physical delivery of your product to your guests. Let's break that down a little bit. So how we talk about it at here is we describe it as the practical or the physical skills that you need to be able to do your particular job. So let's just think about that for a waiter for a second. So as a waiter, the service-based skills that I would need are good menu knowledge, good wine knowledge, knowing uniform requirements, knowing how to use the till, cash handling, being able to relay a table with skill and efficiency, knowing the kosh procedures. If I was a barman, it would be knowing all the cocktails, of course, knowing how the ice machine works, knowing how the fridges work, knowing how to rotate the stock effectively. If I go up into management, the service-based skills I might need are things like knowing how to do a rota, knowing how to manage my P&L, knowing how to do staff reviews, knowing the legal or the licensing procedures that allow me to operate and sell alcohol. Now, people don't go out for the service elements of what you provide. It's almost like they're invisible. But the service element creates the foundation for a great guest experience. And what I mean by that is, it doesn't matter how kind of nice or warm or friendly I am, if I don't have those service-based skills in place, I don't have good wine knowledge. I don't have good menu knowledge. I don't know how to use the tills. I don't know how to carry any plates. I don't know how to pour a glass of wine. I'm not really going to build any meaningful connections with my guest. So the first step is making sure that we have a really good, solid, service-based foundation. Our specialty is about how you make somebody feel. It's their emotional response. So think about a guest you've had recently that you made feel a certain way. You made them feel good, and they made you feel good. That's you providing hospitality to them. Now, some restaurants have a very heavy focus on service. And that spans the whole spectrum of the hospitality industry. So if you think about some of the big fast food chains, their kind of service element is massive, and all the focus is on service. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to go into any of those restaurants all over the world, and they feel the same. Because those service processes, those service elements are exactly the same. That's where they put all their focus. But you also get it some of the very high-end restaurants as well, some of the very expensive restaurants. So if you've ever been to an expensive restaurant, and when you walk in, the receptionist takes your coat and takes your bag, and you're taken over to your table, and the mise en place is beautiful, and the glasses are shining, and, the cutlery is polished to perfection, and the waiter comes over and talks to you about the wine and the food. And, yes, sir, thank you, sir. Certainly, sir. And there's a million steps of service. There's a lot of focus there on service, but actually when you step away from it, you think, how did they make me feel? Actually, it made me feel a bit uncomfortable that I focus so much on service. They kind of forget the hospitality element a bit. And what we need to be able to do, if we want to be successful, and the best restaurants in the world do this, is they balance that idea of service with hospitality. And medicine should be a 51%, 49% split. So 49% on the service and 51% on the hospitality. If we spend too much time focusing on that service-based stuff, we can neglect the hospitality. Now, what I'm not saying is is ignore it all, but we can't let it overshadow the hospitality. Because what might happen if all our focus is on service? When people come into our restaurant, we're not going to make them feel good about coming in. We're going to make them feel quite anxious. We're going to make them feel quite stressed. So, what can we do to combat that? Make sure you spend time learning that service model. Really make sure you take that time to take it on board. Because what we want to happen is, we want you to learn that so well that it almost becomes unconscious. Because then you can start to focus on the hospitality. You can start to focus on how you want your guests to feel. Because you're so assured and you're so confident in your service-based model.